pet enthusiasts. My name is Jason Zakowski. I'm the dog dad of Bunsen, Beaker, and Bernoulli, the science dogs of social media. My co-host is...
Hi there, I'm Chris Zakowski. I'm also Slim Shady on the Kahoot game, and I am the dog mom to Bunsen, Beaker, and Bernoulli, and the cat mom to Ginger.
Every week on Saturday, we let everybody know what's going on with the dogs, and then about halfway through the show, about half an hour or so, 25 minutes, we open up the floor to questions and for folks to come up on audio to tell their own stories about what's going on. Yeah, I think the main thing that we'll just touch on first is how Bunsen's doing, because that's like a main question that we keep getting. So Monday, you took him to Calgary, Chris. Is that correct?
Yeah, I sure did.
Okay, so can you talk about that? Because I wasn't there for it.
So we went. I asked Annalise if she could possibly come with, because like of her schedule with school, she's able to... She doesn't have like class after class, and her schedule allowed it because she's taking music instruction up in Edmonton, but her music instructor is on holiday. So perfect. I'm like, awesome. You can come. Great. And so we packed up the van, and we were gone at 7 a.m. I said, let's leave at 7. We didn't leave at 7 because I don't know how time works, but we got to the place by 9 o'clock, which was when we were supposed to arrive. And we took Bunsen in, and they said, okay, can you sign this paperwork? And I said, yeah. And they're like, okay, we're going to take him, and then you'll get a call. And I said, I want to talk maybe about his medical history. And they're like, oh, no, we have all that stuff. Because you and I, Jason, had gone through the medical history the night previous, the night prior, to just make sure I didn't forget anything that I want to talk about. Yeah. Nope. You're going to say goodbye to Bunsen. So I took a picture of him, and I said, bye-bye, buddy. And then Annalise and I were like, what are we going to do? And we happened to see a Marshall's on our way in, and we were going to go to IKEA. And then we drove to IKEA, but it opened at 10 a.m. So we were early. And then she said, can we go for some breakfast? And so we went to Starbucks. And then we went to Marshall's, and that's when Dr. Diaz called. And he's okay. Based on my exam, he's having trouble in his neck, and I believe he needs an MRI. And I said, okay. And he said, now please tell me, he did have a CT scan or a CAT scan in like June. And he said there was atrophy of his head. And he said, I'm not seeing any evidence of atrophy of his head. And I said, oh no, he grew his head back. I said, Bunsen, great job. You grew your head back. And he's, oh, that's interesting. And then he talked about what it could be. He had 3 ideas that it could be. It could have been like the tapeworm cyst parasite actually being alive in Bunsen and in his brain. I don't know if that's likely. And then he talked about meningitis, and he said there might be a 30% chance of meningitis. And he didn't really talk about the herniated disc, but that's what it turned out to be. So Bunsen went for an MRI. And I was trying to get a hold of Jason because I didn't want to make a decision without Jason. And Jason told me, he said, I am going to definitely be by my phone. So when you text me, I'm going to be able to answer. He's like, I'm teaching, but I can answer the text. So I text, nothing. I text again, nothing. I call, nothing. Text again, no reply. Text again, call again, nothing. And so what I did is I called the school. I said, hello, hi, can I please be patched through to Mr. Zakowski's classroom? And Jason Zakowski's classroom. And the receptionist said, are you a parent? I said, no, I'm his wife. And then he answered the phone. He said, Mr. Zakowski speaking. And I said, hi, this is Mrs. Zakowski speaking. I need to talk to you about what the preliminary results are and moving forward with an MRI. And so now he's trying to be like, oh, okay. And not giving anything away. Like he could be talking to the principal, maybe calling, asking for a student to be sent to the office, or maybe it was a counselor that was calling to talk about attendance or something. I don't know. So he's being very like not short with his responses so that someone wouldn't know necessarily who he's talking to. And Jason's, let's go for it. Let's do the MRI.
Yeah.
And so we did.
Now you're talking about, you called my classroom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just a little awkward. That's all.
Why? What was awkward is that you weren't answering my text messages or my calls when you said
I was teaching.
that you would be near your phone. I know you were teaching, but
yeah,
you said that you would.
I know. I was in I was in like a 25-minute lesson, and that's probably like I had a 25-minute like continuous talk. Yeah. But anyways, so MRI.
Anyway, so then the vet said, okay. And then I went back to the clinic and I paid for it. And then I paid 75%. That's what they wanted.
Yeah.
And so I paid that. And then she's like, okay. And I said, now we're going to IKEA. And for some retail therapy, and she's like, you just spent a little bit of money here. I'm like, yeah, we're going to IKEA. So Annalise and I went to IKEA and it was glorious. Do you know why it was glorious, Jason? Because we weren't marathoning through the store.
Yeah.
You love to go as fast as possible and skip sections. Oh no, we went through the whole map and picked up some things, which was great. So now I'm waiting for the call back. There's nothing. And now you're texting me because you're on your lunch and you're like, are you here? Did you hear anything? I'm like, no, I haven't heard anything. He's like, and then you said, I'm available. I'm like, well, I know nothing. And then what are we going to do? What are we going to do? After that, we went to Costco. And the Costco in Calgary where we went, it was 4 minutes away. Like all the stuff was like right there. And yeah, I know, it's great. And they have these sound barrier things. And I sent you a picture. I'm like, hey, would you like a sound barrier thing?
Bernoulli is being bad.
Okay, no, there's probably something on there. Jason.
Okay, you keep talking. I'll go get Bernoulli off. What is he taking? Let's see what he gets.
I don't know.
Nothing. He didn't get anything. Okay, good. There's nothing up there.
There's your things from Amazon.
Yeah, that's fine. He didn't get anything. Keep going.
He stresses me out.
He's a guy. Okay, there we go.
Oh. Anyway, so I went to Costco, got a few things, got these panels that you're like, yeah, we'll get those. Okay.
Yeah.
Bought those. And then now what are we going to do? So we went back to the clinic. Now he's bringing Beaker over to be bad.
I know.
Anyway, so then we went back to the clinic and I'm like, hi, I'm back at the clinic. And I entered Mark's into Power School. Mm-hmm. So I did some work and so we're waiting there. And then I get a call. Oh, hi. And it was Dr. Diaz. And I don't know what happened to Jason. Hopefully I'm still able to talk. Hopefully everybody can still hear me.
I just made the dogs the solo layout.
Oh, okay. Then what happened? Then I talked to Dr. Diaz and he said, yeah, it's a herniated disc and this is the treatment plan moving forward. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Thank you. That's great. And then he's like, when do you think you might be like Bunsen will be ready to be picked up at such and such to like a little bit later? And I'm like, actually, we're at the clinic. And he's, oh, okay. Let me have the front staff call with discharge instructions. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And so we're sitting there waiting. And Annalise actually has a class at 6:00 and it's like 4:00 when all this is happening. And then I get a call from the front desk. And it's funny because I'm actually in the clinic and she said, oh, he won't be ready for 45 minutes to an hour. Because I said, oh, I'm in the clinic. Oh, we're not ready. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. And then I said, Annalise, oh no, like, I don't know if we're going to make it back to Red Deer for 6:00. But guess what? Great news. Her class was online. What a time to be alive to have online classes. Anyway, so perfect. I didn't have to rush home to Red Deer without Bunsen. Okay. And then drive back to get him. Anyway, and then
Chris,
we went to get some supper.
We haven't got to the MRI results yet.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
He has a herniated disc.
Oh, okay. You're okay. Yeah.
I said he has a herniated disc. Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Pet Chat.
Yeah.
This is my short story long because that's how I tell them. This is why Jason doesn't let me have the camera or the mic very often. But he says it's in his C6-7, but radiology will know for sure because he's going to send the results off to radiology and they'll confirm exactly where the herniated disc is. Anyway, then the 45 minutes to an hour came and went. And then we were back at the clinic after going to Superstore to get some food. And then we took Bunsen home with his herniated disc.
Yeah.
In his neck.
Commonplace.
C6-7.
Commonplace for big breeds.
Commonplace for big breeds. And then in little dogs, the commonplace is 2-3. C2-3. I learned that information.
Mm-hmm.
And he says it's been there quite a while, so chronically.
Mm-hmm.
And so my question was, could it have been because he had that growing mass inside of him, which would have changed how he moved around,
Mm-hmm.
and it was in his abdomen, but maybe it's impacted his neck? And he said, no, I don't think so. What was confirmed-ish, he said it is possible that he grew his face back after the mass came out,
Mm-hmm.
because the mass was impacting a nerve and potentially his teeth and chewing on that one side. So that was a victory for me.
I wonder who's been saying that ever since his head grew back.
I wonder. I wonder who's been saying, good job, you grew your head back because you got the tapeworm cyst removed.
But
Don't know
everything,
who that person was.
yeah, but everything is connecting because
Yeah.
months before the summer, like this is pre-Bernoulli, we went to the Comic-Con in Calgary and we took the dogs with us. And the day we got back, Bunsen was walking crazy weird. He was walking with his head sideways. And I was like terrified he had a stroke or something. So we got him into the vet. And then by an hour, he was walking normal again. And the vet's like, oh yeah, he's probably okay. But the vet had said that he had probably injured his neck long time before it got really bad. And then maybe he just did something and it was enough to tweak it really bad. End of November-ish. End of November-ish is when we started to notice his gait change.
And like when you have an injury, and even if you heal up from that injury, you can really hurt yourself very quickly, even in humans.
Yeah.
You could sneeze and throw your back out. And then, oh no, my back's ruined. And then you get off the couch and you're like, oh, broken. So it's really very similar that the injury can just self-aggravate itself because you're prone to injury already. Yeah. And then he does have a bulge on his C5-6, which is also related to the C6-7. Yeah. So he's got a couple things going on. He's a good candidate for surgery with an 80% success rate. But we're trying, he said, I would suggest not doing surgery right away. Yeah. I would suggest the rest and relaxation retreat, which is what we're doing with him, and then go from there. See how he's doing in a couple weeks. And we don't mind. He doesn't mind. His favorite trick is downstay.
Yeah, he's a couch potato.
He is. He's like very content not to play tug. He's not allowed to play tug anymore. Yeah. No collar. He has to wear a harness outside, clicked up when we go outside together, which is okay because we don't mind doing that for him. Yeah.
So if you're watching live, I've got I moved the camera upstairs and Bunsen is laying right down next to Bernoulli, which is really cute. And we have that section of our house like blocked off. As you can see, Bunsen doesn't roar around unless somebody comes to the door. That's the only problem about having him there because he really wants to see people that come to the door. That's the door to the outside of our house. So he's confined to very small areas of the house, or he's on a leash on his harness, so he can't move very much. And that is his life for 2 weeks. He's on extreme low activity. No walks, just out to go pee and poop. And that's the only time that's what he gets to do. If he wants to lie down outside, that's fine, but no activity outside. And then 6 weeks, 4 more weeks after that, 4 to 5 more weeks after that, again, very limited activity. And there is the hope that he won't need surgery. I think the neurologist said 80% chance of success through rest. It will fix itself. Is that correct?
80%. He's a good candidate for surgery. 80% success rate with surgery.
Oh, so what's rest then? What's the percentage there? We don't know.
We don't know.
Oh, okay. So
but it could be as good as 80%.
All right, just by resting, it could go up to 80%. Okay, That's what you said.
Yeah, and we've done this before. Remember, the whole tapeworm cyst came out and he was on rest and small room. Like, he doesn't have to be crated. He can be in a small room or a small area.
Yeah.
But then you may recall he broke his toe at 4 months and we had him on like rest then too.
That was way worse though, because he was a puppy. That was way harder.
That was way worse when he was a puppy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jen is asking how Jen from is watching on Twitter/X. How is he doing with the rest? He's actually doing fine. Like, I think like you can see he's content. Sometimes we have to separate him in a different room and he doesn't necessarily like that because he wants to be with people. But if he's with people or he doesn't see people, like right now, he's totally fine. He's just chilling with Bernoulli right now. And Bernoulli's not being dumb and jumping on him. So if that was happening, we'd have to separate them.
Yeah. So Bernoulli's calmed down quite a bit. We also had vasectomy Bernoulli at the same time all of this was happening. Welcome to our life of shenanigans.
Yeah.
So Bernoulli's actually a lot calmer than he was because before he was jumpy in Bunsen's face and Bunsen didn't like that. And we didn't know why Bunsen didn't like that. Probably now we do because he was in a lot of pain or he was not sure-footed. So he's, oh my God, here comes a dog and can't defend myself. Now things are way smoother. And what I do is when I leave in the morning, you can see right behind the coats there, that's a room that we put Bunsen in. And you've probably seen the pen that we have in there. So he's confined in that smaller room in a smaller pen. And I give him Kong in the morning. And I also give him his high dose drugs. So he has gabapentin and oxycodone.
Yeah.
Codone.
Yeah.
He has those two. And so I give him one. And then at night, we give him the other. So it may cause drowsiness, which is perfect because then he'll sleep all night.
Yeah. He's a good boy, though. It's not like
he is a good boy.
He's fairly easy to manage because he's such a good dog.
Yeah.
All right. So enough about Bunsen. The news.
Yeah, I have monopolized the whole thing. I'm so sorry.
No, people wanted to know. That was like the number one comment. I did a live walk on Instagram. And that was like the number one comment people were wanting to know about how Bunsen was doing. And as I said, it could have been way worse, the diagnosis, right? This is something that potentially he will get better from just with rest. And obviously he's been through pretty traumatic surgery, so we wouldn't want to have surgery again. We wanted to wait. So if he does need surgery, that's going to be way down the line. And then we have to decide that's the best for him to have another big surgery. But the neurologist said he's a really good candidate for it. So that's good. I'm just so happy it's not, there. And again, we've been so lucky with Bunsen, and it's not lost on me that other people are not lucky with the diagnosis with their pets, right? I just wanted to mention that if you have had a bad diagnosis with your pet, Chris and I are always thinking about that. We're always cognizant of that. Mm-hmm. Okay, before we get to speakers, I think we should just quickly do some updates on Bernoulli and Beaker, because it's been the Bunsen show, even though Bunsen's the bestest boy. So today, Bernoulli asked Chesney, the service Rottweiler, to be his Valentine. And then, of course, she said yes. So there will be
She said, "Absolutely."
Absolutely. That's right. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So that was very cute. You will all see some very adorable footage next week around Valentine's Day with the Chesney, as they've been dubbed. That was really fun.
The power couple.
That was
the Canadian power couple.
That was really fun. And then again, the wonderful Benson, Benny for short. And I see Benny and Bowie, aka the Beans, are here. Benny, we had another every Valentine's Day. We do a little Zoom date. I know it seems weird, but it's actually really fun and really sweet. And we had a Zoom date with Lisa. Lisa's the dog mom of Benny. And it was very sweet. That's also going to be, the whole footage will be around Valentine's Day. Beaker looked so cute in her stuff, Chris, that you got for her.
I know. And I set the room up and Bunsen didn't puke on it this year.
Oh yeah, he puked last year. He just threw up. He threw up those. It was a treat, right? It was some kind of like Valentine's treat we gave them from some place.
Yeah,
he vomited them all up. Yeah. So that's what's going on with Beaker and Emily. And they both did great because there has to be a little bit of movie magic to make it work. Like the dog has to hold the position, and then I'm going to have to use some artful editing. So hopefully you guys all enjoy that next week. I think we'll post it probably Thursday night, just because Friday's busy with text from Bunsen. So you'll be able to enjoy it Thursday night and all Friday, the video.
And lots of people from the future, it's Valentine's Day before it's Valentine's Day for us.
That's right. Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm. So that is true.
Yeah. Why is Bernoulli his butt is right in front of the camera? I don't know. Get your butt out of the camera, Bernoulli. Okay, he's going to lay down. Did you see he was licking Ginger off camera? Ginger tried to get by and Bernoulli trapped her. And he's going, Leh, and then she went downstairs. I noticed that. So, and to wrap that up, Bernoulli is healed and he's going to Waggles. Like Monday? No, Tuesday or Monday.
No, they're not open Monday, but Tuesday.
So we'll cross
he'll be back.
Yeah, so we'll cross our fingers that there's no humpy behavior or anything like that, because this is all Waggles. This is the first dog they've let have a vasectomy instead of a full neuter come to class. So yeah, there we go. All right, anything else to say? Should we move to answering questions and letting folks speak who want to talk about their pets or ask us questions?
Yeah, I have nothing else.
Okay, perfect. So if you're on audio and you want to come up to speak, we'd love to have you. Listen to your story about your pet. If you have some questions for us, go ahead. And then type up your questions if you're watching live. I'll do my best to ping pong around and get to them. I'm watching like a phone, 2 tabs. So it's a bit. Chris is bringing some people up to speak. We got.
Hey. Yeah. Oh, hi. I was going to go with Robert first, and then Patricia, and then Holly. That's the order that came up. Thank you.
Excellent. Can you hear me now?
I can. Yes.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, Robert. We can.
Excellent.
Thank
Hi.
you.
I used to be in the 1980s. I joined a company and we started designing some of the early MRI machines.
Whoa.
And by the late 90s, I was working in a university hospital with doing research on some of the MRI machines. And one of the things we did at night was we did some of the early dog and cat MRIs.
No way.
For a local vet. Yes. And it was for humans only, but we'd sneak them in at night. And then the vet had a friend at the zoo, and then they started sneaking zoo animals in. We did a lion with a foot drop. We did hyenas. We did all kinds of amazing and interesting things. It was very fun, but it was all covert, and we had to scrub everything down so it didn't smell like zoo the next day.
Oh my God. What a wild story, Robert.
Oh, it was fun.
What was the coolest animal that you snuck in? That's a wild question. It's a wild story, but is there one that sticks out to you?
We did a 3-year-old baby gorilla, and the vets were very nervous. They said, if she wakes up, she will literally kill us all. So we're going to keep her asleep.
Yeah, I've heard there's no chill with those gorillas when they go off. They're pretty strong.
Yeah. So, but it was neat. We even did a vulture once and all kinds of stuff. So,
wow.
But I was going to ask on Bunsen, did he have any pain or weakness in his front legs?
He has pain when he steps. That's why he does this little tippy tap. But he's so stoic. He smiles while he does it. Like he's so happy all the time. It's only like we were thinking about this because Adam, our younger son, he's 19 now. He wrestles with Bunsen, and he was wrestling with Bunsen a couple times and made Bunsen cry. Normally it doesn't hurt Bunsen. And he wasn't being mean or anything. He was just grabbing his head and going, "Arr!" And then Bunsen yelped. And that was atypical. And that happened like before Bernoulli. This was way before everything. Like he did verbally say he was in pain, but normally when he walks, he's happy to walk around. Like he's so happy.
Okay. But yeah, the tippy toe thing sounds like it's consistent with a cervical spine injury.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we've been in and out of the local vet here trying to diagnose what was happening with him.
Yeah.
And like one of the vets, she did like a range of motion along with some neurological kind of testing of his pupils and things like that.
Yeah.
And she said his hind legs had like limited range of motion. And that was the first time that he had that. And that probably was like in October. But then after that, like we just rested him and he got better in the hind legs, but he was doing the tippy tap and slipping. Yeah. That's why you can see all those carpets on the floor upstairs, because it's like Carpet City. The floor is lava, but really the floor is carpet for Bunsen.
Yeah, it's so much better for him.
Good luck with the surgery. I had one quick other question on, I saw your bit on how dogs drink.
Yeah.
Do your dogs drink the same way all the time?
The Bunsen and Bernoulli do, but Beaker changes how she drinks.
Because my lab, sometimes she drinks like she's a debutante sipping champagne.
Yep.
So gingerly.
Yeah.
And then other times she puts her entire face in the water all the way to her eyeballs.
Yeah. Beaker has dainty drink and then all in drink. She has both. Yes.
Must be a lab thing. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, Robert. Very cool. Okay, Chris, I have no idea who's next. Sorry, I was monitoring the other channel, so go ahead. Do you know?
It's Patricia. Hi, Patricia. Thank you for waiting.
Yeah, hello.
Hey, sorry, I don't know what happened there. I dropped off, and then I had to get back on again. So, yeah. So right now, I'm glad that Bunsen is comfortable.
Yeah.
But at least you guys have a diagnosis. I just want to clarify. I suggested, because I had a friend of mine who had something similar, but it was more in the back end.
Yeah.
So I don't know, anyways, about maybe going to see an osteopath, but I didn't realize his disc was herniated. I was probably reading it while I was half asleep, because it's like 1:42 in the morning here. And I'm not that long back, actually, because Sky is in the hospital.
Oh.
Yeah, she has mild pancreatitis.
Oh, no. Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Thursday, she was fine. And then Friday, she only gets fed once a day, not because I didn't, like when she was a puppy, I used to feed her 2-3 times a day.
Yeah.
But then when she got older, I used to feed her breakfast and dinner or supper. But then I started realizing she didn't want to eat breakfast. So now she would be like she'll literally 6 o'clock comes. It's like she'll run from my office, which is now turned into her bedroom. Yeah, and I've got a pretty big office, and it's a home office. So, but yeah, and she'll come into the kitchen, or she'll come in wherever I am, because I work from home, and she'll pester me like, come on, it's feeding time. So I was like, all right. So anyhow, so I make up Sky's food.
Yeah.
I cook all of her food. Now there is dog food in it as well.
Yeah.
Because she's got a really sensitive stomach. She has a minor umbilical hernia. So she's booked in now to get that fixed in April, because she just had a heat cycle. So I'm like, I'm done with the heat stuff. So anyways, long story short, so she had dinner, and then I didn't even know, but she just got sick. I was eating my dinner afterwards, and I thought, oh, did I spill some of my dinner on the floor? Because I was watching TV. And then I was like, that is the grossest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And then I was like, okay. So anyways, so we went to bed, because she sleeps with me. And then her stomach was making so much noise that you were talking about fartanuli. Oh my God. I couldn't stop laughing, because Guy's farts, they would have knocked everybody out. They could have killed Trump. They were so bad. And it's weird, because she doesn't do that. She's the most polite dog ever. She doesn't fart in the house at all. If she does, she'll go outside. It's really funny. But anyways, about 3 o'clock in the morning, she just puked.
Oh, no.
Her heart rate was going. She was really lethargic.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So I was like, okay, will I wait till morning and take her to the vet, or will I go now? Because there's only one vet hospital in the whole county. If you're looking at a map of Ireland, I live in Mayo, like mayonnaise. That's the name of it. It's the second biggest county in Ireland. And there's only one vet hospital. There's loads of vets, but there's only one small animal vet hospital, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I call them, and then you get through to an answering machine or an answering service. And then they're like, oh, if it's an emergency, please call this number. I'm like, just give me somebody on the phone, will you?
I know.
Anyways, call the number, and then you almost have to leave a message. So I'm trying to pick up this disgusting vomit off the floor. And then she runs into the bathroom, and she's puking in the bathroom, and she's the worst. She was so sick. It was just so quick.
Yeah.
The first thing that came to mind was, I don't know why, but I was like, I think she's got pancreatitis. I don't know why. I think I was reading something about it. But so I make up her food, and I was giving her ground lamb. And I didn't know this because Sky loves lamb, right? But lamb is full of congealed fat.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that congealing that kind of causes that problem.
Oh, man.
So, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. So if you talk to Roddy Cole's mom, his mom, she is a vet tech. So it's basically diet related. So, because I would make up big, huge batches for a month, and I would put Sky's dog food, which is like grain-free, organic stuff or whatever. And then I'd add lamb and like basmati rice and beef, right? When I was talking to the vet, anyways, whatever, when I finally got her there, they straight away, they put her on IV. Her temperature was up. She was really like somebody who'd been drugged. She was like super lethargic, and she was just so sick. And she just doesn't get sick. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyways, long story short, so that's what she has. She has mild pancreatitis, and it's as a result of me unknowingly feeding her too much lamb that has congealed fat in it. Because dogs apparently don't. Now didn't know this either. They don't digest like fat as it whatever like we do.
Yeah, you have to be very careful with how much fat is in your dog.
Yeah. If I was having pork chops, Sky didn't want the pork chops. Sky wanted the fat that was in it. So of course I gave it to her. I was like, I can't say no to you. But anyhow, so of course I felt like pretty crappy. But I went to see her today. She was much better. They'd given her something for nausea, and they put her on just an IV. Because she was more dehydrated than anything. But she's fine. So the vet was like, you can pick her up probably on Monday or Tuesday.
Oh, that's good.
Because so like where the hospital is, I work there on Tuesday. So I was like, it might be Tuesday. But they have to keep doing blood work because they have to get her, I don't know.
Stable.
One of her, yeah, no, but it's not even stable. It's just, they have to get a certain part of her blood level down. Yeah, they need to get it like within normal ranges or whatever because it's elevated.
Yeah, normal range.
I honestly, and I didn't have a benchmark for what normal for Sky would be. So anyways, but she was fine. So I brought her like her blankie and I had slept in it like last night or whatever time I ended up going to bed. Because you know the way with dogs, if they have something that smells normal, they're human or whatever, it relaxes them. So I slept on it specifically. So we gave her that, and then she has this stuffy that she's had since she was a pup, and it's her favorite. And she'll suck on it like I call her soother.
Aww.
Yeah. And then, of course, she was crying, and then I was like, "Oh my God, I'm leaving you." Oh, but it was weird because the first the night that I took her down there, I was like, they were like, we got to get this on her. I was like, 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm not leaving her. I'm lying on the floor with her and you can call the cops if you want. But all I can think about though, apart from Sky, was poor Kuno. Because I kept thinking, oh my God, I can't imagine if I brought her here and I didn't bring her home.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it's a good, in inverted commas, result. He said she'll recover fully. She just can't eat. No more giving her bacon. But Sky doesn't know that yet because she loves bacon. Because the joke, of course, on dog Twitter is, what was it Kuno said? Something about she smells better than bacon.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was, but yeah. Yeah. So that's basically poor Sky. And I feel so bad because I'm like, why the hell didn't I know this? I've had dogs for years.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it's just, yeah.
Patricia, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. It is. I want to thank you just for telling us about this, because you don't know what you don't know until you know it. And thank you for coming up to tell us about that, because who knows, somebody listening that might help their dog out. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I think maybe do something on that, because you know the way you do it on different dog breeds.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you guys could do, because I haven't had a huge amount of sleep. I'm almost 2 a.m, so I'm going to hop off. Not wanting to be rude. Yeah, okay, I'll shut up now. All right.
Patricia, thank you so much for sharing tonight, and we're just happy that Sky's going to be okay. Thank you.
Too.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Jason. Okay, bye.
Okay, take care.
Thanks, Patricia.
That's a scary thing, leaving your dog at the vet. Like when we had to leave Bunsen overnight, that was really tough. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like super tough.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Patricia. Who's next? Holly?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Holly. Go ahead.
Hi. So when we were talking about that certain wiener dog breed earlier, I never heard them called a Dachshund until I came to Canada.
Yes. Yeah.
This must be a Canadian thing, because in the U.S. they're Dachshunds.
Yeah.
Or Doxies.
Yeah.
And at one time I actually spoke German, and the German pronunciation would be Dachshund.
There you go. I knew there was a different pronunciation, and I butchered it when I was trying it. So yeah, I thank you for correcting me.
But anyway, just oddball things. But in news of the pet household, we had our once-a-year snowfall, and Sasha was just ecstatic.
Aww.
She's one of these dogs that when it snows, she goes into full-on zoomy mode, which is a lot because she's pretty lazy like Bunsen is, because she's like a year younger than Bunsen. But yeah, the snow comes out, and it's almost like, you know how burners are, and Sasha's this way too, where they just can run faster in the snow than they can on dry land.
Yeah.
And it's like she's fascinated with the fact that she can run fast. She got about 3 days of there being enough snow on the ground to make her happy, which was wonderful. And my other little bit of news is she and our cat Toby have hit a milestone. They have figured out how to play.
Yay.
I am so happy for them. So basically, Toby bats at her. Sometimes he just hits her in the head. And she's figured out that she bows and jumps and then pretends to chase him. And then he parkours around the room. And she's now started where she actually will pick her paw up. And she's not hitting him. I think she knows that he's little, but she's just waving her paw towards him. And he really likes that.
Aww.
One other quick story. I have a colleague who has a Great Pyrenees puppy who is 5 months old now. And with the snow we had this last week, so he lets his puppy out into the back. And his dog's reaction to snow for the first time was to lay down in it and sleep for 3 hours.
Yep. Yeah, Pyrenees are even more impervious to the cold than Bernese Mountain Dogs.
Yeah. So it's just, I find it amusing to see dogs' different reactions to snow. Of course, when I had my last greyhound, her reaction to snow was, ew, my feet are wet. I'm going inside. But anyway, I just want to say that I'm loving all of the Valentine's Day love going on dog Twitter.
Yeah.
It is just so sweet. And I definitely would say that Mummy Fave will always be Bunsen's Valentine. That much is true.
It's pretty true. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You are the Mummy Fave. There's, and dad guy is occasionally useful, but most dog dads fall into that, yeah, occasionally useful to category, I think.
We're helpful when it's time to feed them. That's about it.
Exactly. Or if they need to be picked up for some reason.
Yeah.
But yes, I hope Bunsen feels better soon. Spinal issues are weird. I have spinal stenosis in my L3 to L5, and it has weird effects like sometimes my legs will just feel like cinder blocks. I don't have back pain. My legs don't want to work.
Oh.
And it's so weird how if your spine becomes inflamed, the nerves it can push on and do odd things too. I'm also going to say I knew Chris was right that it was the alien space baby that caused Bunsen's face to deteriorate, and that once it was gone, his face grew back.
I know. His face grew back. Good job, buddy. You grew your face back. That's what I tell him every day. Good job.
I told you. I knew Chris was right. So there you go. So anyway, everyone enjoy the rest of their weekend. I'm going to go and cook dinner while I listen to the rest of the wonderful nonsense on this chat.
Yay. Yes. Thank you. We agree. Sometimes social media can get very serious. And I was feeling a little serious, and it's good to be a little silly and a little sweet. And I hope the Valentine's Day stuff comes through that way. Who is next? Chris? Is it Christy? That's Miss Penelope. Is she next?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for waiting. And we've got a couple more speakers. We'll get to you.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Good. That's my little Piper in the picture. She's a 3-year-old Chihuahua. And 2 weeks ago, Saturday, she got sick and I had to take her to the vet. She was fine Friday and she woke up and she was just vomiting like it was clear, but it had foam on it. So it was just nasty. And she felt really warm. And I take her every month around the 6th of each month for her allergy shot. And she is on a Lasix in the morning and a half of a heart pill at night because her heart's a little enlarged. And that's very normal for Chihuahuas. Heart murmurs or enlarged heart. Like this dog has better care than most people in the world. I'm serious. This is how well I take care of her. And I knew that she never throws up. And I knew something was wrong. I make her food. I've made it since we've got her. And then she takes a liquid vitamin at night and liquid vitamin and her salmon oil at night. And I knew something was wrong. Oh God, I'm going to start crying. So I got her to the emergency vet, and they did an x-ray and they said that her liver was a little enlarged, but that could have been from her heart too, and the blood work and stuff. They knew her fever was 103. And so they knew there was an infection from the blood work. They just couldn't. So they gave her 3 shots, one for nausea, gave her a B12 to boost her immune system, and then a really strong antibiotic. And that was, she was there all day. She wasn't dehydrated though. And oh my God, at 9 o'clock last Saturday, she passed away in my arms.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
And we don't know why. We said it must have been a fast-moving infection because she was fine on Friday, and I didn't have an autopsy done. I just couldn't. We had her cremated, and she's in a beautiful little pink urn. But it was like, to me, it was like I lost a child, and I don't know what happened. And I keep going over in my mind, what could have been? I've been researching. I'm a nurse for 38 years, and I've just been going over it. And so her doctor, I just sent her the report that I got. They sent it to me, and I'm just waiting to see what she thinks from her vet, because I can't even imagine what would have been so fast-moving to make her so sick in just a few hours.
Oh, man.
I thought maybe somebody here knows something. I don't know.
Oh, I'm just so sorry. I'm so sorry about that. I put Princess Piper in the nest for people to take a look at. You've got a lot of wonderful messages coming in on live. People are just heartbroken.
It's just been really hard.
Yeah.
And so it's been very lonely. So my granddaughter lives with us while she goes to college, but she's never here. But I have her cat here, and her cat has just not left me alone. Like, he's right here with me right now. And it's like, he must know, because he will not leave my side. And he's been sleeping with me, which is really odd. So he cuddles up to me at night, and I'm just thinking, I'm sorry for crying, that he must know that something's, because he and Piper play well. Piper was the mean one, and the cat would bat at her, and Piper, I mean, they would get the zoomies together. But I'm thinking but these animals must know. They just have to.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Animals feel, the same big emotions that we feel, and they do feel grief, and they do sense grief. And they know when we're sad. They know when we're sad.
Yeah. So anyway,
I'm not a vet. I can't tell you.
Oh, I know.
I do have to say that when Bunsen was so sick with his growth, I caught it because it was during the summer, and I'm a teacher, so I had time off work. Right, I was around him at that time, and it has crossed my mind many times that if I was 2 hours on either side, he would have died. Probably.
Oh my God.
Right. If he got just the straw broke the camel's back late at night and both Chris and I were sleeping, or if he was at a kennel or something, or we were at work.
Yeah. Because it was not quite school. Yeah. If it happened in September, then he would have been at home. And
I guess, like, sometimes you just never know. I don't know why I'm saying this. It's just that.
Well, no, I understand.
Yeah. Sometimes you're in the right place at the right time with your animal, and sometimes it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And I know when she, like, dogs, cats, they're like us. They have their days they don't feel good for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And I knew that day that it just wasn't, she was not feeling good. She was sick, and I could feel her tummy. And I told my husband, I said, we're going to the urgent care right now. I said, she's hot, and she's not feeling good, and she's very lethargic. And we were at the urgent care by 9:30 in the morning, or 9:15.
Yeah. And
we were driving through a blizzard and everything, and we got there, and they took her right in. They were amazing, and they were I don't think the vet was as shocked, but they just didn't think. They told me if she's not better by Monday, of course, I was going to take her into a regular vet, but they said she could also the antibiotics may just take 24 hours, and she could be back to her old self the next day, which had been Sunday. And unfortunately, I was laying in bed with her, and I picked her up and was just looking at her. And next day I looked at her again, and she was gone. And thinking, oh my God, what did I miss as a nurse, as a dog mom? What did I miss with this? It just keeps going in my head, because I just knew everything about this dog, because I'm with her 24/7 as a retired nurse now. And I just don't know. It's just something that was so fast. I've seen, unfortunately, as a midwife and a baby nurse, I've seen babies pass within hours because they get septic for whatever reason. Yeah. And I think that's what happened to Piper. She was an infection, and she got septic, and that's all I know.
Yeah.
And it was fast.
We all can go from relatively healthy to very sick very quickly.
Yes.
Yeah.
But thank you, everyone, for.
Yeah. Chris and I are just so sorry. A lot of people are saying, of course, you're going to feel the way that you feel, but don't beat yourself up about it. You did all you could.
Yeah. That's why I done all week to beat myself up, but I'm not doing it anymore, because I did my absolute best as a mom dog. She was taken care of every month. She was very well taken care of.
Yeah.
But thank you, everybody. I'll let you go on to the next person.
Okay. Take care.
Thank you.
To everybody putting really nice messages, thank you. There's probably like 30 messages from live just saying they're so sorry for your loss. You did all you could. They can't tell us what's wrong with them. You just have to try your best. People are just so very sorry. So thank you for sharing. Okay. We will go to Jamie and then to Tracy. Hi, Jamie. Go ahead.
Good morning, Chrissy. I'm really sorry for your loss. I do understand. We've been through it just recently ourselves. Changing the tone a bit. It's still raining here in Townsville.
Right. It was raining last week. It hasn't stopped?
No, it has not stopped. We're up over 800 mils of rain
Wow.
for February. And for the year, we've already got our average rainfall. So everything is wet and muddy, and things are turning blue with mold in front of us.
Oh, man.
Oh, it's feral. It's disgusting. The poor chickens live in a mud pit, and we cut a whole heap of long grass for them yesterday, and I spread it out as much as I could to give them some more, a little bit of different surface to pad around in. But of course, that means you've got to wear a trench through the mud to get in and out of the chook yard.
Yeah.
And this morning the dogs got up and ran and ran and ran, and then came upstairs, and Rose's nice little white socks were the same colour as the rest of her.
So muddy.
Rose is a black dog with white socks. She's a border kelpie. Yes, she was so muddy. And Tennessee was muddy with her. And Tennessee is a big, shaggy white wolfhound crop.
Oh, man.
So she was black as well. And River was just upstairs going, oh, children, they're disgusting, those children.
Yeah. That's Bunsen to when Beaker and Bernoulli got so dirty every day in the summer. Bunsen's like, what is your problem? Stay out of the mud.
Yeah, River's turned into a middle-aged man. He's just like, oh, mud, ick. And now Rose is tired and River's exhausted just from being disappointed in the children. But otherwise they're healthy, and yes, they're getting stir crazy though, because it is so disgusting, and they can't go swimming in the creek because the creek looks like a chocolate milkshake. And it's flowing so fast that if you let them swim in there, they'd be 5 kilometres downstream in a heartbeat.
Yeah, it's not safe. Yeah.
Oh, no, not safe at all. So they're stir crazy.
I feel like we have similar situations at the same time. You have so much rain, it's so gross you can't go outside, and then for us it gets so freezing cold, you just die if you go outside. So we have the same problem.
Yeah, and stay at home from work on Monday because it was raining so heavily, and then on Tuesday I went into the office, but about 15 months ago the roof on our office building was replaced because it leaked. It didn't work. We still have waterfalls running down the walls.
Oh, man.
The power points beside my desk to plug my computer into got wet, and so they weren't working. And so the carpets were wet and everything was wet, and it was all stinky and horrible. So we all got sent home to work from home. So I've been home all week. But if the roof didn't get fixed by getting completely replaced, the water, and it's still raining, the office is still going to be stinky. So I can't see going to town this week either.
It's wild.
We've had bridges wash away. We've got our major dam down the road from us is at over 200% capacity at the moment. Yeah, there's a lot of water.
Yeah, it sounds like it's turning from annoying into dangerous. So I hope you stay safe. Like it's fun to joke about when it gets lots of snow or whatever, but it reaches a point where, joking stops and it's dangerous to everybody. So, yeah,
that's it. Yeah. There's so many potholes on the road. My daughter is getting my husband to drive her to work at the moment because her car, she's got a smaller car and he's got a ute, so higher clearance. Yeah. So he's driving her to and from work. Yeah, it's not the best place at the moment. But the dogs are good.
That's good.
So that's the important bit. And love to everybody, and love to Bunsen to rest up, and cuddles for all the others.
Thank you, Jamie.
No worries. Thanks.
Thanks, Jamie.
We have a saying in Canada when it gets really cold, we always end with stay warm. So I guess stay dry.
Stay dry.
Yeah. Take care, Jamie. Okay, we'll go to Tracy. Tracy, thanks for waiting. You were at the end of the queue. It's been a great show. You're up. Go ahead, Tracy.
Hi, Tracy.
Hi, everyone. Hope you guys are doing good.
We are, and it's good to hear from you. Hopefully you're well.
Yeah, I'm doing well. I just actually got back from vacation in Mexico, so
What?
that was nice. Yeah, I did. I saved up my paid time off, did an all-inclusive spot,
Oh, that's awesome.
got margaritas brought right to me if I wanted them, so it was great.
Ooh, that's
That's awesome.
Chris knows a little bit about that. That's dangerous.
Yeah.
It was. Jason would make the margaritas for me, and then he would put extra drink in it. It's
Yeah.
a problem.
Yeah, and then I did a tequila tasting where the worker like poured the shots, so I was like half shots, and then it was still like definitely enough because you had like 8 different types of tequila you're trying. It's fun. And then I had my sister watch the cats.
Yep.
I got back yesterday, and they have been glued to me.
Aw, they're like, where'd you go? And you're like, tequila. I don't know.
Yes. So I had Amy sleeping near my feet, and Holt was sleeping near my head,
Aw.
and just hung out most of today. I don't go back to work until February 14th.
Okay.
So I took 13 days, and it's all paid, so
Nice.
good.
Nice. I'm happy for you. That's great.
Thank you. Definitely needed the vacation.
Yeah.
Definitely missed my cats while I was gone, but I knew they were in good hands. And they're healthy and happy, and they love everyone they meet, so it's all good.
Awesome.
I love that. I put a picture of Amy and Holt up in the nest for people to see on audio. They're super cute. They're like tuxedo cats, black and white.
And if you're on live, it's just Bernoulli sleeping. I'm not sure where Bunsen and Beaker went, but that's Bernoulli is just sleeping. So no.
Beaker's on this side closer to our bedroom, and Bunsen's over by the bench.
How? I put a box up. There's no room there. Why would she go there? That's so weird.
I don't know.
Tracy, I'm glad you had a great vacation. We all need a vacation every now and again. And I know the last vacation that you and I went on, Chris, as a couple, the worst part about it was I was missing the dogs big time. Like they're a huge part of our life, like in the morning.
When we went to see the eclipse?
Yeah. I was missing the dogs.
Yeah, I was
know.
definitely missing the cats. But also, like, when I did the eclipse, I just went right back to work the next day, and then I was exhausted for a few more days after that.
Yeah,
So I'm like, I'm not doing that this time.
Yeah, Chris and I,
And so,
yeah, we were tired too. But thank God it was at the end of the school year, wasn't it? We went.
No, it was April. It was right by my
Oh,
it was
birthday.
like
it was
April, yeah. Beginning of
that's
April.
right. That's what
see-
made that month so long. Is we came back right in the busiest month of teaching. Yeah, that week back was brutal. Oof.
Yeah, and Jason, I'm like, are you sure you want to travel on April 6th? Like, and you're like, oh yeah, let's
yeah,
travel
'cause
on
it's-
April 6th. I'm like, are
Oh,
you
it's 'cause
sure
it was your-
you want to travel on April 6th?
Oh my God.
And you're
yes.
like, yeah. I
It
said,
was
it's
your
my birthday. And you're like, oh, I've already booked it. Oh, I guess I'm traveling like on a red eye flight thing on my birthday.
Okay.
Hooray.
I took you to see the eclipse for your birthday. So that's a pretty good
No.
birthday present.
The eclipse was on the 8th.
It was close. Close counts in hand shoes. Close counts in and horseshoes and hand grenades and dancing.
Yeah.
Somebody was asking where Jamie's from. It's Australia. So yeah, she's from Australia. I thought the accent gave it away. It could be New Zealand. Though there are a lot of Australians that live in British Columbia.
Like other parts of the world. Yeah. But no, Jamie is definitely from Australia, and she's invited me to go there.
Maybe not in
I don't want to
January.
go in the rain season though.
You
No,
just
I want to
swept
go
away.
like when it's like stinking hot.
Yeah, it'd be a problem for Elphaba. Wouldn't that be a problem? How would she survive in Australia?
Elphaba?
Elphaba.
Because she's from Wicked?
Yeah, no, that's her name. The Wicked Witch of the West. First name is Elphaba.
I know.
Okay.
I know. We watched that movie together.
You know what? As musicals go, it was good. I would give that 8 out of 10. And I'm not a musical guy.
This is what Jason does. He rests his hand on his head like this, so I can't see that he's sleeping whenever we go. Yeah, Jason's doing it too. That's what he does whenever we go to a musical, because he's just he wants to not show that he's sleeping. We went to Carmen.
Oh my God.
And I wanted to go so badly.
I got that
and
for
you
your
bought
birthday.
Tickets for my birthday. Yeah. When was this? Back in like 1992? Anyway, no, it probably was like 1996 we went.
It was brutal.
And you were like,
It was brutal.
and then I told you, I'm like, aren't you enjoying it? And you're like, I have no idea what they're talking about. I have no idea. Like at intermission, I said, they have subtitles at the bottom there. You said, what? There's subtitles? There's dubbed in English? And then I think the second act was better. But the roads were awful. There was a brutal snowstorm on the way home.
Generally not a fan of musicals. I am a fan of one musical, and I've watched it probably 30 times. You know what it is?
I was going to say you were a fan of the Book of Mormon.
Okay, you're on the right track. You're getting hot.
What would Brian Boitano do?
Yeah, South Park, the South Park movie, which
South
is a
Park.
musical.
The South Park movie. It is a musical.
Yeah, one of my top 10 favorite songs of all time is Blame Canada. I love that movie so much. Anyways, okay, so we're out of speakers. We'll wrap up. We're running a little bit over here. I'm just checking the chat. Thank you for the updates on Bunsen's health. Okay, perfect. Yeah, we went a bit long, so thank you for everybody who stuck through.
It was me. It was my long story long. It was my short story long.
I had to go deal with stuff upstairs, so you were talking anyways. So people
I just kept talking. So this is what Jason says to me. He's, oh, hello, it's Christopher talking here. Christopher Walken, and he talks weird. Like, I'm Christopher Walken, but it's Christopher talking.
Wow, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Wow.
I just keep talking here. Yeah.
We love it when Chris talks.
Yeah. You get a lot of, I came back and I'm like, you haven't even talked about the MRI yet. And that was like 20 minutes ago, but I guess you had. So I was just concerned. I'm surprised.
Okay. This is the other thing. Jason's, you don't get to the point.
You get to the point eventually.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're a math teacher. You have to get to the point eventually.
I do. I get to the point. I get to the variable. Yeah. X is equal to.
See, like and
then the prestige. I call it mathemagic.
Oh my God.
I'm like, what? Hooray! We got to the answer. It's mathemagic.
All right. That's it. Time to wrap up. We're going to play Kahoot again. Thank you to everybody who came today. It's a bit longer, but we had lots of people with heartfelt stories. We're always here for folks to share their wins, but also sometimes the really sad parts of pet ownership. Next week will be really sweet with what Chris and I got cooking for Valentine's Day. Over to you, Chris.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. We appreciate you listening to our stories and sharing your stories with us in the community. Grow together and we learn from each other. And I think that's important. And I'm excited about continuing to do the podcast and be here with you.
Yeah. Okay, take care, everybody.